Welcome back everyone, it is Mike from Mana Hoarders, and today we are talking about Vivi, a new commander option spoiled from the upcoming Final Fantasy crossover set. You can cast Vivi for 1 blue and red. You get a 0/3 wizard. He has 2 abilities. The second ability, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on Vivi, and he deals 1 damage to each opponent. And his first ability, which I'm talking about second because it has garnered a lot of attention, for 0 mana, you can add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is Vivi's power, activate only once during your turn and only once each turn. Now this ability is absolutely insane, but love it or hate it, Vivi is here, so let's build around him. Now, as usual, I like building decks on a budget, and this one is no different. You can get the 99 for Vivi for around $25. Now, Vivi himself is still in pre-order because the set does not drop until mid-June, and his price is varied anywhere from between $60 to $90, so if you want to have the deck ready, and then if you want to sell some body parts so you can buy your copy of Vivi when he drops, that's completely up to you. Now, Vivi is an absolute monster, but the one thing he can't do is draw cards, so we are including a lot of 1-drop blue spells that can draw us cards. The idea is to cast multiple of these in a single turn, deal some damage to our opponents, and start stacking up those 1/1 counters to pay off with a ton of mana generation. A fun one from among these is Twisted Image, since it can switch target creature's power and toughness, giving Vivi the extra 3 toughness as his power for his mana ability. Now, we are also including Curiosity. It does not draw cards on its own, but it does trigger Vivi's second ability, and then whenever we cast future spells and he's dealing damage to all of our opponents, he will draw us a ton of cards. Now, since we have Curiosity and we are in red and blue, we do have a backup plan. We are running Niv Mizzet, since he can draw cards and start pinging our opponents. Now, Vivi himself is very efficient at burning our opponents, but it can only get better if we include more creatures and enchantments to do the same thing. The benefit here is if we get Vivi's mana ability off, we can get out some of these fellow burners and then start casting spells and take out our opponents even faster. Now, 2 of my favorites from among these are Gutter Snipe and Fiery Inscription. Every time we cast an instant or sorcery, each of these will deal 2 damage to each opponent. The mana ability on Vivi is based around his power, so we have a lot of 1 red mana spells that we can cast to pump it up by at least 3. I also like Wild Ride, since we can cast it from our graveyard, and Seething Anger has the buyback ability. Now, if those spells aren't enough, we can pump Vivi's power even further with Levon, Cultist of Tiamat, and Balmor, Battlemage Captain. Balmor is the perfect option to lead the charge of an army of tokens in case the backup to our backup plan doesn't work out. We can just flood the board and run over everybody. Of course, with Murmuring Mystic and Talran the Sky Summoner, we can create a ton of flyers that can be a huge threat to our opponents. And Empty the Warrens is just a fun include, since we are going to be casting so many spells. We could potentially storm off and create a ton of goblins. And though I've never used it, I did include the Docent of Perfection because it can generate 1/1 wizards and then flips into the final iteration, pumping up our wizard army, which does so happen to include Vivi and even Niv Mizzet. Now, with so much value being generated in this deck, the only way we can make it better is doubling it up, so we are including Varian, Voice of Duality. She is a personal favorite of mine and the commander of one of my own red and blue Izzet decks. Her second ability reads: if casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Once we get Vivi to 1,000,000 power and we use his first ability, let's cast some giant spells like Apex of Power. We exile the top 7 of our library, and then until end of turn we can cast spells from among them. If we cast this from our hand, we can add 10 mana of any one color. A fun include is the Elemental Eruption. We create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature token with flying and prowess. It also has storm, so whenever we cast this spell, we copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. And the one I am most excited about is Mizzix's Mastery for the Overload ability. If we cast it for the Overload cost, we change target in its text to each, so then we can exile each card that's an instant or sorcery from our graveyard. For each card exiled this way, we copy it, and then we can cast the copy without paying its mana cost. And there you have it, my friends. That is the meat and potatoes for my budget list for Vivi. I've got the full deck list in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, tell your friends about us, and I'll see you in the next one.